Big game. We have a champion. It was quite a game. Rams win. Do you want to start there with your thoughts on that game, Richard, or do you have much bigger thoughts and
I
aspirations?
think you and I are going to argue a little today.
Oh, let's go. Come on.
I don't know. Just don't hit me. You're too big.
No, no.
Um, I don't know. I'm not an Aaron Darnold guy in that game.
Why?
Not. Where was he the first half?
You want to know something? I would agree with you early on. It almost took, for me in watching that game, it took the play along the sideline where he kind of pushed Joe Burrow, maybe after the whistle or right at the whistle. Burrow flung across the turf a little bit. And here came Burrow's compadres from the Bengals to kind of have his back. And then they pushed Donald, and it was like they woke a sleeping giant some. And from that point, he was unstoppable. But he made the plays down
Well,
the
I mean, I
stretch.
don't know about unstoppable. He had 2 sacks.
He was pretty good, though.
I mean, look, first of all, yes, he's excellent. I would not want to run into him in a bar fight. Um, but man, I still see people saying that he's so much better than TJ Watt, and it's just I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I just don't see it. But that said, we don't have to dwell on it. But I don't see it.
Well, I'll tell you what I think was the biggest story of the game, and what will continue to be a big story in the NFL is no matter what attention they give, if the Rams are going to continue to win, is it they talk about Cooper Cup in the pregame and in the lead up and the announcers, and then the on-field product that tries to stop him doesn't ever pay the same attention. It blows me away. Like they told us all pregame, Cooper Cup is spectacular. He's so good. And then you get out there and watch the game, and they single cover him with Eli Apple, who stinks. Like that's what I don't understand. When are people going to realize that Cooper Cup is really good?
But and I think to your point, knowing that, acknowledging that, and still not reacting to that, and still trying to single cover him. You're right. Eight catches for what 92 yards. But key catches, key 8 catches. Every one of them was a key catch. Um,
Right.
so yes, I mean I agree. And so if you go back to that whole coaching mentality, I would say the last play of the game even was really
Yeah.
a ridiculous call. Just ridiculous. All you had to do is pick up a first down, and he's 15 yards away from being in field goal range. Blew that. That call blew the game. But and then of course let's go to Dapper Joe.
Okay. Let's go to him because can I tell you how the last 5 drives went at the end of that football
Yeah,
game?
please do. You would know that. I don't. Yes, tell me.
Punt, 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 turnover on downs. That's how they went. As he went into that proposition, leading by 4 points. Uh, his offensive line was not good, but isn't it okay to ask a great player to make great plays despite some things that are against them at times?
Especially when you act like such a hotshot.
I, hey, he went in the span of 8 days for me, Richard, to someone who was kind of likable. I thought to someone that got highly unlikable for me.
Man, you said the same thing. I mean, I'm exactly there. When I saw him get off of that bus and the way he was dressed, I mean, honest to God, I said, you know what? That man up there is about to take a swipe at him, and he's going to put him back in his place. That's what I said because I believe in that stuff. And man, I'm telling you, I feel the same way. Remember last week, I said Joe Burrow's the guy, and he has gone. I don't like him anymore. I just
I
don't like
I'm
him.
I think he soured a lot of people in this country. He showed up off the bus. He was dressed like the lead singer from Houdini. He had it was like he was there to do a concert. He had this it crossed over the line from confident into cocky, and
Yeah.
and the thing is, I wonder if it's a put on or if it's really him. Like he's not lovable anymore. He's not.
No, he's not, and he really had like I mean, I saw so many of the NFL players, even the announcers. Everybody was enamored with Joe Burrow. Not many people are enamored with him right now, And I don't think it has anything to do with his ability. I think you're right. He crossed that line from confident, really good to cocky, and cocky's not a very appealing trait. It's not endearing.
I can't believe you and I are in the same wavelength about something, but
Yeah.
it's absolutely true how far he
Yeah, I
went.
don't like him. I really don't like him. I'm completely the other way. And I would say this to you. I don't know if people say, well, he's going to be back. He has another chance to win another Super Bowl. I'm not so sure he does. Because remember, he's got to go through Pittsburgh. So, and Pittsburgh is not going to stay bad. So, Joe Burrow, buddy, you might have had your last shot. You could be a one and done Super Bowl quarterback.
Uh,
Um,
you know, he doesn't need to go through Pittsburgh. He needs to go through Mahomes. He needs to go through Allen. He needs to go through the
yeah, that's true.
Chargers. He needs to go
Yeah,
through,
I'm saying Pittsburgh.
yeah, and he needs to go through Baltimore. And I mean, there's a lot he needs to go through in the AFC. A lot,
Yes.
and everybody's getting good.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. So then that brings me to quarterback,
Uh huh.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
I saw a name that I've never seen before come up.
Hold
The
on.
guy
Hold on. Hold on.
from
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you know who it is.
No, I don't. Who?
Yes, you do. I don't even know him. He's in North Carolina. His name's Sam
Sam
something.
Howell.
Yeah.
Yeah, people
Have,
like Sam Howell, but like, what are
have
we
you
doing
heard
here?
him? I know exactly. Is that
Why
real?
are we? Yeah, I know Sam Howell. He's okay, but it's back to the same thing. Why are the Steelers? Why would the Steelers? And this fan base is brainwashed at this point. Why would they settle for just leftovers and not wait and potentially get a 5-star meal? Just wait and wait for another year because whatever leftovers that you have now in the fridge, whether it's Sam Howell, whether it's Malik Willis, whether it's Kenny Pickett, whether it's one of these retreads in free agency, they're all going to lead you to the same place, which is 9 wins or so at best. Just punt on that quarterback position, like I've been saying. Wait until because there's real quarterbacks in this next draft. Wait for that.
Who do you
Just
think is
wait.
in the next draft?
Well, there's a bunch. There's the kid from Alabama. There's the kid from Boston College who's Dracovic, who's very good. There's 4 more kids. If Kenny Pickett, I saw a thing just yesterday. Kenny Pickett might be the first quarterback off the board in this draft. If he was in the draft prior to this one, he would be fifth at the very least. And if he was in next year's draft, he would be ranked sixth right now.
Wow. Well, that's why he played his heart out this year, according to his buddy Peyton Manning. He stayed in, played the senior year, and elevated his status. But I don't know about the other quarterbacks. I do know Phil Jakovic. He lives like right down to the
Yeah.
right about 10 houses, and Phil is everything you would want in a person, in a player. He is the real deal. Good guy. So if we had an opportunity to get Phil, yeah, I'd say play Mason. What do you have to lose? Um,
I agree.
but here, the other thing is, I really
Let's hear
like
it.
Dwayne Haskins.
He intrigues me more than anybody on the roster, and I'm talking any position. And I just wonder this: are they going to give him a fair shot? If they give him a fair shot, he could win the job.
I think Mike Tomlin and he were. I thought I had read that they were. Mike was taking a lot of time with him and developing him as a person also. And Mike's good that way. Um, and I think that if he does that, he'll get the shot. But his release is a little weird. But I mean, he's gotten this far without worrying about it. I do like him. I really do, and I really would love to see him emerge from the past that he had to something successful for us. But who knows?
All right, I got a question for you, and this is right
Okay.
up your alley because you know about stardom in the media and you know about being a good-looking guy. So here we go. Sean McVay. Okay, there are rumblings just in the past 48 hours
Yeah.
that one of the networks is going to tell Sean McVay, just like Sean Payton, what are you going through all this nonsense for?
10
Why
million.
you what are you doing this for? Don't coach. Don't coach. Come here, work 1-2 days a week. You're going to be our star on our platform, whether it's Yahoo or whoever has these games or a regular network. If you're him and he's getting married this offseason, he doesn't have any kids. He said he'd like to start a family. He's getting married this offseason. Would you entertain walking out on top saying, I got my Super Bowl. I'm out of here. I'm going to go work TV and forget this racket that's coaching football. He could take off for 10 years. I think he's 36. He could take off for 10 years and still get back into it and be under 50 years old.
I think I'd have to consider that a great deal. I think the number I heard was 10 million the networks were going to offer him. But okay, so let's say that I don't know what he's making. I know he's the highest paid NFL coach, but I don't know how much that is. Do you?
He's got to make at least 8.5 now.
Okay, so he goes. So it's not really a big pay bump for him.
Right.
Goes from 8.5 to 10. No big deal.
He could get 12, 13 maybe.
In broadcast or on the field?
Broadcast. Romo's getting 20.
Yeah. Crazy money. But so yeah, I mean, I would think about that depending, but it's so different. Coaching and calling a game are so different. And I mean, the fuel that you get from coaching is just very different than what you get from broadcasting. And it's really, I would probably say it's more than 2 days a week that he'd work. I think it's probably more intensive than that. You know, the game prep, the travel from city to city, that's pretty disruptive too. But I remember, talking to Ken Wisenhunt. I always refer to Ken as a friend of mine, and I mean, I used to watch him work. It never stopped. That was a 365-day-a-year job, never stopped.
Right.
So I would understand that. I mean, you've got the draft, you've got the summer camp, spring camp. I mean, you've really got a lot of work as a head coach. So I could see Sean Payton, or not Sean Payton.
Both.
Yeah, well, him too. But I could, but McVay, I mean, man, he's got that fire. He's got that compelling, attractive quality that make you want to watch him and see what he has to say. 10 million, yeah, I'd probably go. What about you?
I'm gone yesterday because you know what? You know what happens, and I'll tell you, this is one quotient that we don't think of, but football coaches will tell you. If you're broadcasting and you're not coaching football, you never worry on Friday night at 1:30 in the morning what some knucklehead might be doing. Your livelihood isn't beholden to other people's behaviors. And that's a
really good
big
point.
you're you. You don't have to depend on the behavior of 53 other people. And I'm not talking on the field.
It's a very interesting point. I hadn't thought about that. And look, a case in point. What's his name? Camara.
Yeah.
Right? Gets in some kind of a scrape. Police waiting for him as soon as he comes off of the field. I mean, yeah, you're right. So you have those worries. You really do. And remember, these kids, they're in their early 20s. Man, it's hard. It's hard
Oh, yes.
to raise, 20-year-olds or 22-year-olds. It really is. So I understand that. I agree with it, but there is no feeling that Sean McVay will ever get in a broadcast booth that will equal raising that Super Bowl trophy above his head.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're totally right about that. All right. Another question that came up about the Steelers? Chase Claypool. If somebody made you an offer for a trade, would you trade Chase Claypool this offseason?
Depends on the position, but I don't think I would. I'd want to see some consistency. I think I think he deserves the opportunity to be more consistent. I wouldn't get rid of Juju either, but
No.
that's just me. But I think it's inevitable. I feel like all the signs are there. But I wouldn't get rid of Claypool. Claypool gives us a complete different dimension. I mean, he really does. He's got that long extension and the ability. He makes some pretty crazy catches, misses some easy ones, but he makes some pretty crazy catches. I would not get rid of him, would you?
I'd entertain it, and if I would keep him, I would move him inside, try and do what they tried to do with Eric Ebron. He still wouldn't be on the outside for me. I'd move him inside. I think he could be more effective.
Why would you take him from the outside?
Because I think that the way that Matt Canada's offense runs and the things that he does and to get people in some space, I think he can be a lot more effective inside for you. And I would make Deontay Johnson my burner outside and just say run vertical. Because it's quite obvious he doesn't like contact. What I've learned, people say, what I've learned about Deontay Johnson is he's inconsistent and he drops the ball and this and that. Well, that's fair. You know what I've learned over Deontay Johnson's time here? He hates contact as much as Franco Harris did. He
That's
really
funny.
does.
That's funny. I
And
mean, the evidence supports that statement. You're right. Now, can I
so,
ask you a question about non-professional things? Because
sure.
I think this is something that really needs talked about. Have you seen the video of the high school hockey player in Shaler?
Oh, I called his parents and tried to get them to come on our show. Yeah.
No way. Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. From what perspective? I'm appalled by it. I'm
I
complete.
People saw it and said, I need further context. As soon as I saw it, I said, this is my perspective on the whole thing. I don't need any further context. There's no excusable action that could result in someone marching up in the stands in their hockey skates and punching an adult in the face. Like, I didn't need to see any more
I
or
agree with
hear.
that 100%. There is nothing that justifies that. Nothing. Nothing. And so his parents wouldn't come on.
No, because they've got a lawyer, because there's charges that are coming and things that are coming down. But anybody that tries to excuse it away, I just can't even start to walk down a road with you on any justifiable action that can permit that or allow that in your brain to think that that's permissible behavior or excusable behavior by anything that happens. And it's just, you know, I think about like when I was in school, and I don't mean to be an old timer here, but I wouldn't just be suspended from the team or kicked off the team. I would
Expelled, gone,
from
expelled.
school, from
Yes,
the whole
forever,
school.
gone, gone. And that's what should have happened. I wrote that, and I believe that, and yet then I see on some of the Twitter things, people are saying, "Well, what did the father do? What did the guy do?" Who cares? Who cares what he did? It's completely irrelevant. Now, maybe people need that context, like you said, but for me, once you cross that line and you go up those stands and you punch an adult, come on. And you know what's really something? That kid could have really gotten hurt because if somebody pushed him backwards, he would have gone down those stands, and that could have been really dangerous. He avoided a very serious injury for himself, also.
I don't know what's happened to our human nature in that we don't have respect for each other the way we once did, and we're so quick to escalate things as opposed to just say I don't want to be involved in this in a
Yeah,
good way. Like why? Because everybody has a camera in their pocket, and everybody has access to disseminate whatever they take either in video or photo form to thousands of people, it seems like, via social media. So that said, when you connect all those dots, there's no way you walk out the other side of all that situation and say, how do you not say, I'm worried about my job, I'm worried about my livelihood, I'm worried about my place in the community? Like, how do you not think of that no matter how dire or crazy the situation is? I don't get that.
I don't get it either. And we do agree completely on this topic. And I'm really glad. I'm not surprised, but I'm really glad to hear that you called the parents to see if you could get them on the show. I really am. And I hope at some point you do, because I'd love to hear how they can excuse that.
Yeah, I just like I'm to the point, honestly, like I said this the other day. Like, let's say I go up at and I don't really eat fast food, but like every once in a while, if I go up and somebody hands me a sandwich and I didn't get pickles, but they put pickles on it. I'm to the point in my life, honestly, where I'll just sit and eat the sandwich with pickles because I don't want to walk up and return it and it
Yeah.
be misconstrued that somebody filmed this and say he complained and it turned into somebody yelling at me and then it's taken out of context. Like, I just keep it moving in my life because there are so many people seemingly looking for problems.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah. I mean,
I,
I just find that I think that made a social commentary that's much bigger than Shaler Township.
I think the lack of respect we have for each other, and particularly in the sporting realm, is absolutely incredible. And it spawns from this. I don't think it spawns from hating each other. I think it spawns from everybody having a false sense of how good they are as a player and how far they're going to take their career. That to me is one of the big things. Like, I think I'm so good, I'm going to be in the NHL, and there's such this sense of every game and every moment is the biggest thing. It's just a high school hockey game, and you're not going to be in the NHL. And you could want to win, but it's just a high school hockey game, and
I think it's yeah. Go ahead.
we have this false sense of how big that event is.
I think it's more intrinsic than that.
Yeah.
I think it really is. I think it's an arrogance. It almost goes back to the Joe Burrow thing. It's cockiness. It's man, like who do you think you are? Like,
Well,
and I hate to do this, but what if somebody decided they were going to go old school on him? And then what? I
tell you
mean, it
another
just
thing.
doesn't go anywhere good.
Again, I don't want to sound like an old timer, but kids, and I mean kids as they're growing up now, they just don't hear the word no enough.
Mm, it's a good point. That's a great point. And I mean, you could take this conversation inside sports, outside sports. You could do that. You could talk about the Ringgold situation right now with the bullying. Man, there's a lot of things that I think we really need to pay attention to see what contribution we can make, what small contribution we can make to try and expose it to people.
Can I tell you one other thing that's a problem with this that
Yes,
I've
please.
deduced? How often now, think back to when you were growing up, and I think to when I was growing up, how often do kids participate in any sort of sport right now that's not facilitated by an adult with uniforms on, with a score clock running, with a real arena or playing surface? Kids just don't go play. Thus, they can never figure their own problems out. Every
Yeah,
game is a sanctioned game with uniforms, with a scoreboard, and kids don't know how to meet out their own problems. You and I played countless, endless, thousands of games where there was no adult within 10 blocks, and we
that's true.
figured out a way to figure our problems out.
We played football in the side yard. I mean, it's what we did. You're right. I mean, and it's evolution, and you certainly can't things can't stay the same. But it's really sad to see from this perspective to look down on it, being an old timer and looking at that, thinking, "Wow, you can really see it now. It's obvious. It's much more obvious than being part of it." I hope something. I hope that kid gets expelled. I really do. And I don't care who hears it. I hope he gets expelled forever, and I hope there are sanctions against whatever he does in the future. But he should not be allowed back in that school.
No, I absolutely agree. All right, it's been a big
Okay, buddy.
week. Been a great week. I will talk to you soon.